Hey, this is Tom Garman from GuitarAntihero.com, and welcome to the AAA method overview video. Now, this AAA, to avoid confusion, I'll get this out of the way here, this AAA is not an emergency roadside service, nor does it refer to a 12-step recovery program with the typo, which is to say the addition of the extra A there. What it is, however, is a system that I've been using in my own playing for some time and have been using with students to get some great results based on what we already do, know, and have as guitar players. This stuff really works and is really simple. So let's go ahead and dive in here and see what we're looking at, okay? Alright, so what is the AAA method? AAA is an acronym for Analysis, Application, and Adaptation. It's based on a simple three-step process for identifying and using what I call leverage points. These leverage points, in a nutshell, are just things that we're already doing in our own playing, and they're things that are already within our current knowledge base that we can use as points of leverage into bigger and better things. Basically, it's a means of making what we don't understand understandable by association. Okay, AAA is both curative and preventive, which is to say it can be used to fix any problems that you have in your playing right now, be they bad habits or misunderstanding about theoretical concepts or whatever. And it's also preventive, which means basically you can use this system to avoid running into some of those same pitfalls that you may have run into in the past. It's a good troubleshooting method as well. Okay, AAA uses what you already do, know, and have, as we've already mentioned, which is really nice. That's actually the strength of this system, is that you don't have to go out and learn a bunch of new stuff that you don't understand, or that is going to take you several years to get a handle on in order to implement this, because it uses what you're already doing as fundamental tools here. It can be applied to any style or level of experience. It doesn't matter how long you've been playing or what your level of expertise is. It also doesn't matter what you're doing stylistically. If you're doing anything with the guitar at all, this will work for you. And it also helps develop individual stylistic skills. Because it is based on what you already do know and have, it will help to further develop your individual personal style, because that's what we're using as a foundation here. So it's also something that can be used to break out of any of those ruts if you start to feel like you're maybe sounding a little bit too much like somebody else or following too much of someone else's program. This is great for that as well, because it will help to develop your own skills as an individual player. Alright. The three steps then are as follows. Analysis. Okay, the analysis step, or the analysis stage. Basically what we're doing here is we want to analyze where you are now and where you want to be. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. We want to get a good bird's eye view of what you're already doing, what your current level of ability and expertise is, and then look at that in relation to whatever your goal or problem is. Be it it's a goal that you want to achieve or a problem that you want to fix, it really doesn't matter. The process is the same. But you have to take stock of what's already going on so that you know what you're dealing with. Okay? Once we've done that, we move to the next stage, which is application. Basically, you just apply what tools you already have at your disposal, or what tools you have easy and quick access to in a very deliberate and focused way. Meaning, we don't just start playing stuff or start kind of shooting in the dark saying, does this sound right, does this feel right, and leaving it up to chance if we want to achieve a goal. We're doing it in a very deliberate, focused, and intentional way. So this means that we have a game plan, and we're working that game plan in a smarter way so that we're not just spending a bunch of time leaving things up to chance. Okay? Adaptation is the third stage. Basically, all that means is you adapt and modify your approach to meet any changes that you encounter. Okay, there is no stasis. You're never just standing still with this stuff. You're either moving a little bit ahead or you've fallen a little bit behind. Okay, so guitar playing is a dynamic, integrated process. Being that it's dynamic, that indicates change. So there's always going to be bumps in the road. There are always going to be unforeseeable factors that you maybe didn't account for, and you'll need to be able to take this system and adapt it to meet those changes. Okay, it's not tough to do. And then you just repeat the process as needed. Okay, there again, that may depend on what your goal is in terms of how often you will need to repeat it, but that's that's basically it. In a nutshell, that's the system. Okay, so why should you use the AAA method? You should use it because it's an organic system development. By organic here, I mean something that's not coming from outside of you or your own playing. Okay? In other words, we're not looking to someone else to fix our problems here. We're taking our own strengths and we're leveraging those to grow more of the same, right? It's a personalized, unique method. Since you're using your own tools, it's very personalized and unique to you. Your system is going to be different than the next person's because you're different than the next person. Okay, no two people have the same levels of technical proficiency or theoretical knowledge. No two people have had the same experiences with their playing. So that's another nice thing about this system, is that it is personalized and is unique to you. It's not a one-size-fits-all, which doesn't really exist anyway. That's one of the main reasons why a lot of us have the problems we do in our playing. There isn't a one-size-fits-all. It has to be personalized and unique in order to work for you as an individual, and that's what this does. Okay, it also builds self-reliance, which leads to self-trust, which leads to self-confidence. Being that it is based on your own stylistic preferences, the things that you're already doing, and it will be flavored then by your own way of doing things, that helps you to be self-reliant. Again, you're not looking to a lot of outside sources to fix problems for you. You're becoming more self-reliant by using this. That leads to self-trust. You'll trust yourself more as a player. You'll trust yourself more as a musician. And that leads to self-confidence. You have a lot more confidence in your abilities as a guitarist. You'll have a lot more confidence in yourself to fix any problems that may come along. You'll have a lot more confidence in yourself to go ahead and tackle some bigger goals that you may or may not think you'd even be able to do. I don't know how many times I hear that during the course of a week just from students. The whole, oh, I'll never be able to do such and such. No, you can do that. Someone else is doing it. So that shows it can be done. That person has 2 hands, 10 fingers, whatever, just like you do. Okay? You can do it too. You just have to have the right game plan and the right map to get to where you want to go. Self-confidence is key there. Okay? It's also repeatable. It's replicable. That means you can take this and just repeat it. Okay? You can use it for whatever you're looking at. Be it something with jazz chord harmony or sweep arpeggios or understanding how music theory works. It doesn't really matter whatever your goal or problem is. You can take the same process and you can apply it to whatever goal or problem you have, and you can accomplish that goal and get past that problem. It uses the same principles every time. So really the only thing that you're looking at there is the number of times that you would have to repeat it. If it's a bigger goal, you're probably not going to get there in one shot. Say, for example, your goal is to nail 3-octave sweep arpeggios, but you're not really too sure about how chords lay out on the fretboard, much less arpeggios, and your right and left hand coordination isn't so hot. You're probably going to have to go through this process and build up to that. But you can build up to it because it is repeatable, it is replicable, and you can do that. So basically what we're looking at again is analysis. You want to take an honest look at where you are right now and where you want to go. Okay? And again, you want to be honest with yourself about this because getting your head full of airy-fairy notions about, oh, I suck, I can never do this, or, oh, I'm so much better than I actually am, doesn't do you any good, and that's just going to keep you further away from your goal. So we want to get a layout of what the current situation is regarding your own playing, your own knowledge base, and how that relates to what your goal or problem is. So that's step 1 of analysis. Number 2, application. We want to look at what we're already doing that works. Okay? Look at what you're already doing that's working for you in your own playing, and think of ways that you can apply that and leverage it into building up to what your ultimate goal is. All right? Part of the application stage then is also pulling in sources that you also have access to that won't take you forever to do. So if you have a question about something, can you ask someone? Can you get online and Google it? Can you watch an instructional video or something where someone covers a particular technique? that's part of the application stage. You take these things and then you apply them based on what we learned in the analysis stage. Okay, and again, we're doing this very deliberately. There's a very deliberate goal in mind. We're not just kind of being haphazard with this because we want results and we want it to be practical. Then the third stage, again, is adaptation. Things aren't always going to go as smoothly as we'd like, so you have to be able to adapt your system. So if you run into a roadblock and you're like, oh, I didn't really account for this, I didn't think this thing was here, maybe there's something else you need to learn about that. Go out, learn it, come back, and apply it. Okay? Or maybe you need to practice a particular technique a little bit longer before you have it nailed down. Take time to do that, nail it down, then come back and go back to the application stage. Okay? And just run it through like that until you hit your target. All right? It's really not that tough. Okay? So, what next? I know this is just kind of an overview. We're dealing more with general ideas here than specifics because everyone has different specific situations that they're dealing with. And in the general sense, the system does apply to anything you could think of. It's very simple. A lot of people might be saying, well, isn't that just what you do? Well, it's what you should do, but the thing is, most of us don't do it. Most of us have a pretty vague idea about what we want to do as players, and then we don't really have a good game plan as far as actually getting there. We just do all this other stuff that maybe doesn't even have anything to do with what our ultimate goal is, or we spend time messing with these other things that aren't really relevant to what we're working towards, and then we wonder why we're not getting any better. So we want to be laser focused with this, be as specific as you can about the goals and then the methods that you're going to use to get there, and you shouldn't have any problem at all. The strength of this system lies in its simplicity, because it's kind of something that we just take for granted. We just don't do it. Okay? So start doing it. Pick a goal or a current problem area that you have. Okay? Doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you think you have a crappy picking technique. Maybe you don't know enough about chords. Maybe you have a rather lofty goal. Maybe it's to, improve your phrasing or your scale vocabulary or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Just pick something, pick one thing, and start working with it. Then go through the process of analysis, application, and adaptation, like we outlined here. Go through that as often as you need to. Okay, the adaptation stage, you may have to repeat that a few times and go back to the application stage. If something isn't working for you there, you may need to go back and reanalyze what it is in fact that you're doing. But if you follow this sequence and repeat as needed, you will get there, so long as you're willing to put in the time and do the work. Okay? And then go ahead and develop and use your new system. This is something we want to actually use, okay? And it is a system, it's a process, you'll be developing it as you go along, but over time it'll turn into one of those things with proper use, where anytime you encounter something new, you'll just run it through your system, and it'll work for you just as well as anything else does, okay? It's all doable, it's all right there for you. You probably already know everything you need to know to make this work. It's just a matter of actually doing it. Okay? So that's it for now. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, make sure to stop by GuitarAntihero.com. Remember, be bold, be yourself, break the mold, be an anti-hero, do your own thing. All right? Thanks a lot. See you next time. Bye-bye.